We're visiting today with Kendra Chantelle. Kendra is one of our wonderful, wonderful singers. Kendra can do just about every kind of genre of music, but she really shines in that soulful R&B, soulful pop kind of genre. She's also edgy. She can do those rock things wonderfully. She also brings to the table wonderful background vocals, and her experience with that. She brings a newness to background vocals, a freshness, and she can layer them up. And her, answers and answer vocals and all that stuff are just phenomenal. If you haven't used Kendra on any of your songs yet, I would highly recommend doing it soon. So, well, hey, Kendra, how are you?
Well, I'm so good. Thank you. I'm floating on cloud nine thanks to all those nice things you just said about me.
Well, you're a wonderful, wonderful artist, and we appreciate so much you coming in and singing for us from time to time. Tell us a little bit about you. Are from East Tennessee, is that right?
I am. I am from a little tiny town called Loudon. It's sort of in between Knoxville and Chattanooga. But my parents are both musicians. My mom is a fantastic singer and my dad's a drummer. And they started bringing me to Nashville as a teenager to get voice lessons and to start working in the studio. They had a really amazing friend of our family's that's got a studio over on Music Row. And he kind of let me learn the ropes there when I just did not know what I was doing. So I feel really lucky. Before I ever moved to Nashville, I already had a lot of live and studio experience and a few connections here, which was really helpful because it's an overwhelming place to start fresh.
Is your friend who owns the studio, is that somebody that we might know?
His name is Charles Howe, and he does still have the studio, but he works in the production world more than anything. I just talked to him yesterday, actually. He's still somebody that I keep in touch with. And he is involved in a new club downtown. It's in a rock club on 3rd and Church. When things get back to normal, we were talking about me coming out there and doing some singing. But he primarily focuses on like live production now.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. Did your dad... Did your dad play with any of the bands in Nashville, or did he play mostly with local bands over in around Loudon area and Chattanooga? And
he actually started a rock band in Loudon, like right out of high school, and they hit the road and played the club scene for years all over the country. And that's how he met my mom. She's from Canada, and she was out on the road singing, and they met, I believe, in Kansas City, and they hit it off and began playing together. And they spent several years based out of Kansas City playing the club circuit. And they never really played with anybody in Nashville. By the time they had children, my dad was focused more on booking bands. And he worked with a guy named Steve Gudis, who actually just passed away a few months ago, but he was a huge part of the Nashville scene too. But my dad didn't play with anybody in town, I don't think.
Okay. All right. So you feel like you got a lot of your vocal talent from your mom then?
Totally. But I will say I got my ability to be in rhythm in my pocket from my dad, because when I was learning to sing, I had horrible timing issues. Like I just could not find the one. I couldn't be around the one. It was really bad. And my dad would, like, the whole ride to and from school, I would have to like be on the one. And he taught me just some basic stuff on drums. And it made me a much more rhythmic singer, because he was like, I don't know how to tell you to sing in time, but I do know how to make you understand a backbeat. So that'll help.
So you knew basically from a fairly early age that you wanted to make music your career.
I did. I always joke and say, like, I didn't stand a chance at anything else. From like my earliest memories were singing harmonies with my mom and, putting on concerts for my neighbors with my sister. I never considered anything else. My sister grew out of like the thinking that was fun, but I didn't. And I think my parents were kind of excited, but also like, oh man, we were hoping you were going to do something else because this is a hard road. But they were always very supportive when we figured out like, I'm very serious about this.
So when did you actually make the move? Was that out of high school from Loudon to Nashville?
I moved after completing a year of college. That was an agreement that I made with my parents because they were like, they used to put it in this term. They would be like, Kendra, we made hundreds of dollars a year in the music business. Are you ready for that? And I didn't know what that meant at first. I was always like, that's awesome. And then as I got closer to being an adult, I was like, oh, they're saying a lot. So we had an agreement. I was very academic. I had a 4.0, so I got a full scholarship to a school called Marable College. And I told my parents, I'm like, I will go for a year and try it out because I know that's important to you. But after that year, I'm going to decide what's best for me. And I went and made great grades and I was in the choir, but I was so uncreative that whole year. And I was like, this is not for me and this isn't serving what I want to be doing. So I moved to Nashville. Actually, it was May 30th, 12 years ago. So I just celebrated that little anniversary. And I've never regretted that decision.
No. I'm sure that you haven't. Now you also songwrite. You're also
I do. Yeah.
And have you had anything? You record mostly your own songs for your projects and that kind of thing?
I do. I had my first kind of big break as a writer last year. I've been touring singing background vocals with Tom Kiefer from Cinderella since 2014, I think. And I got to write one of the songs on our last album as a band. And that came out last September. And we opened every show last year with the song that I wrote with Tom. That was really cool to finally, experience something I've dreamed about my whole life, which was like being on a stage and seeing people singing along to something that I wrote. I was like, this is so cool.
When you see people that know the lyric and know the melody to a song that you wrote, I remember that when, after I'd had a few radio records and would, it's a phenomenal thing.
There's nothing like that.
No, you don't realize, you really don't realize how far your music goes and the people that it touches until that happens to you. And then you realize, that's probably somebody out there's favorite song. And yeah, it's a huge rush. Now, tell us about your American Idol experience. Was that good overall, or how was that?
I would say it was good and bad. I mean, you don't go through something that huge without it being a little bit of both. I was very I would say like, I wasn't like super intensely focused on winning American Idol. I went after it in a very like, oh, let's see what happens kind of way. So I wasn't like humongously disappointed that I didn't win. I think it was more just the way that it went down. I got sent home after what was very much like the greatest performance I've ever had. And I am an artist and we are fragile, so we never feel like it went well. But that was one of those that even I knew it was really great. And so I'm real thankful to have gone out on a high note, but it was really hard to take like doing what I felt like was my best work and then being sent home. But I'm real thankful for it because it was something that gave me a really large audience that has, for the most part, continued to follow me and invest in what I'm doing and want to hear my music. And, you know, I play shows with all sorts of different kinds of artists as a background singer. And inevitably, somebody in the audience is always coming up afterwards and going like, I loved watching you on American Idol. And I'm like, that is crazy. So I definitely view it as a positive, but it was not without its thorns. I will say that.
Was there quite a bit of travel involved when you were doing that?
There was. I was in LA for several months throughout that whole process. I think my first audition was in July, and there are a few auditions before or in between that and what they call Hollywood Week. Um, Hollywood Week was in December of that year, and I went to LA for a few weeks at that point. And then I came home for Christmas and went back to LA for a month, and then came home for a week and was back in LA until March when I got sent home. So for the TV show itself, I was primarily just in LA. I did get to go on a tour after the season was over and play for the US troops all over, like in 10 different countries. So that was definitely the coolest part of the whole thing.
Yeah, I would guess, because you know you were a star to those people, no doubt.
Well, and to me, it was just like I have great uncles that served in our armed forces, but I don't have anyone in my generation that has served. So I've never had like a single degree connection with somebody that's serving for our country. And so I felt like it allowed me to understand patriotism and understand the sacrifice in a completely different way. And it was just kind of surreal to, you know, eat lunch with these people and hear like, you know, there was a woman my age, and at the time I was 22, and she had a brand new baby, and she was in Egypt serving for the next 2 years. And I just thought like, and you think we're heroes? Like you celebrate people that just make music? No, like you're a hero.
Yes,
It was really cool.
very definitely, and none of us should forget that. The sacrifices that those people are making on a daily basis, being away from home, being away from their loved ones, their family. And like you say, for her, not only that, but she was raising a child and serving in the military. It's unbelievable the sacrifices that those people go through. God bless you for going and doing that. I'm sure it's not something you would have had to have done, Kendra. But thanks.
Hey, I was really glad to. And when I think about what they do for us on a daily basis, I was like, you know, me showing up here is nothing in comparison to what they do for us. And I think, I don't know, for me, it was like, if we're not at war, I just forget that people are doing that, you know? And since that experience, I've never forgotten that. Like every single day that we are just living and existing, there are people out there making sure that's a possibility for us. And that's pretty amazing.
That's true. And whether we're at war or not, those people are putting their lives on the line daily.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we don't have to be at war for those people to be in peril, in jeopardy daily in the different places where they are.
Very true.
Well, tell me about the projects. I know at one point you were working with our mixing engineer, Bobby Holland, doing a project. Is that finished up and did it come out?
It is finished. Interestingly enough, we were in the studio beginning that record this day last year. So funny how fast time flies. I am releasing the first single June 26th. We did 12 songs, so I'm kind of just figuring out how I want to release the rest of it. It's a really weird climate. It's just a new weird season in the music business. So I grew up very old school, and like albums were just bodies of work and you put them out that way. So I feel really inclined to doing that, but I'm not sure that's the most effective thing to do. So I'm kind of just going to put one song out there right now and see how that works and, learn from it and decide if I want to follow that pattern with the remainder of the songs or if I do at some point want to put out an album. I'm really unsure right now, but working with Bobby was pure magic, as you well know. He is so talented, and it was just really fun to get really creative with my own project. Because most often I'm supporting other projects, and I love that, but that was really fun to do, and I'm excited to share it with people.
Wonderful. So, how will people be able to access the single, Kendra? Where will they be able to hear it or buy it or whatever they, however it's offered?
I am using a company called Symphonic Distribution. They are amazing, and they're making sure my music is able to be consumed everywhere. So it's going to be on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, CD Baby, like all those places that people buy or stream music. It will be on all of them.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You hear that, people? Go listen to that. And that's what June.
June 26th, so pretty soon. Yeah.
Couple of weeks. So right now you're mostly focused on, well, besides your project, which I know your mind is still on daily, but you're teaching lessons, and you also teach yoga.
I actually don't teach yoga yet. I'm thinking of getting certified to do that, and with the current year where I was going to be on tour from like March until about October, and I think it's looking like that's probably not happening for the rest of this year. So I've never been certified to teach yoga because I've never had enough time to be home and complete the certification. So I'm definitely planning on doing that, but I am teaching voice lessons. I've been doing that for several years, primarily via Zoom videos right now because I think voice lessons fall under phase 3 of reopening, and we're very close to that. But yeah, I teach voice lessons and I love that. It's usually been something that I fit in around touring and sessions and everything else, but it's been my main focus for the last few months, and it's been really nice.
So when you're not teaching online, do the people actually come to you, or do you go to them for the lessons?
They come to me. I have been really lucky to share a space with Maureen Murphy, who, if you don't know her, she is just the greatest human and the most amazing singer. She has a studio off of White Bridge Road, the Maureen Murphy Voice Studio, and she shares a space with Green Hills Guitar Studio, and they teach guitar, and they've got a piano teacher there. So it's a really amazing spot, and it's a really cool location right in the middle of town. I teach out of there, and people come to me when things are open and functioning.
How cool, Kendra. So what are your plans for the future? I know you want to finish up the album that you're working on, put the single out, see what direction you want to take for the rest of the album, and hopefully get back to doing some touring. Is that kind of what's on your mind for doing in the future?
Yeah, that's definitely the plan. I would love to begin doing more solo work again. I played 3 shows by myself last year as a solo artist, and that was the first time I'd done that since about 2012. So that was really fun. I had an amazing response and a really good time. So I'm looking forward to doing more of that when things open back up. Big tour that is being navigated, but definitely going to still happen. We're just not sure when, with Tom Kiefer and the Kiefer Band. So I've got that on my plate. Continuing to teach, getting my music out there. I'm also getting married in September. And so I have just a lot going on.
I would say you do have a lot going on.
Yeah, and it's all stuff I really am happy about. So I think life is great.
So it may be good, this little respite that we've had may have actually worked out for the best for you, because you've definitely had more time to plan your wedding and think about that and kind of look ahead and get your ducks all in a row. So that's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, nobody would have chosen this current season that we're having, but I found a lot of silver lining in it. I mean, I haven't been home this long in my entire adult life, so I have a garden for the first time. I'm real organized. I don't know that I would have had the time to slow down long enough to even get a single released. So it's definitely been a much needed pause. I will be ready to go back to touring and all the things that we're missing when they come back, but it's been a really nice reset, honestly.
Good. Well, tell us, we're kind of running out of time here, but tell us, Kendra, your website and maybe some other places where people can go and listen to the music that you have out there now. I know we've got some samples of you on our website that are doing other people's songs, but I'm sure they would love to hear you doing some of your music and some of the things that are closer to your heart.
Yeah, I have a website. It's www.kendrachantellemusic.com.
Mm-hmm.
And most of my social media is linked there, but Instagram and Twitter both are just at Kendra Chantelle. My YouTube page is youtube.com/thekendrachantelle. Yeah, you can follow me there, find clips of me singing and performing. You can find information about tour dates and vocal coaching. It's all kind of there.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, this has been great getting to see you. I miss seeing you, and hopefully we'll have you in the next month or so to sing some stuff for us, because I love it, and Rod loves it when you come in and sing. And you people out there who, like I said, who have not had Kendra sing your songs, you need to write one for her. write her something that's got that soulful, beautiful kind of R&B thing to it, or write her a sassy little pop rock thing that's got some edge to it, and believe me, she'll bring it home for you. So thank you so much, Kendra, and we'll talk to you very, very soon.
Thank you, Chip. It's so good to see you. I miss y'all, and I always love working with you. So thanks for taking the time to talk with me today, and I hope to see you soon.
All right. Love you, Kendra.
Love you too. I'll see you soon.
All righty. Bye.
Bye.